When you start an episode with Uncle beaten, bruised, bloody, at least for me, it's a 50-50 coin toss. Are we seeing something because he deserves it, or are we seeing something just because he's ugly in the context of this world, and is basically, well, viewed as an orc? And I honestly was expecting that it was something of his own stupidity. I have to be honest. The number of times he's accidentally proposed without realizing it and breaking hearts / making them fall even deeply more in love. I was expecting this man, accidentally gave a ring to some cashier at some stand that he was buying vegetables at and broke her heart or something. But, to see that he was worth like 3 of these coins when he was taken in as an orc, but some blob that they decided to exchange, which he says is trash as he's taking it, is worth like 100 times more. This man's life is pure suffering, and I love the fact that he thinks he had a pretty good start to the world. And I think what makes the tragedy of Uncle's life so hilarious is that this man literally had the ultimate path to the harem lifestyle. I imagine had he clued into what was happening in terms of giving rings / these 2 girls falling in love, he could have doubled, tripled, even quadrupled his harem easily, because somehow he makes it work. He would just have to do the exact same intro that he does for these 2, do it to a couple more, he would have been set for life. But instead, he just continued to drag them along, and they just basically were obviously going to feel used the whole time, but they couldn't help but how they felt. As he gets beaten by townspeople because he looks like an orc, he could have easily, without much struggle, got a little house on a hill, looked at a lake, had some beautiful wives, and this man, because of sheer ignorance, he can recognize it when it happens to his nephew. He can recognize, ooh, this person likes you, but literally cannot for himself. And because of that, the reason he experienced hell was because he didn't realize that there was some people interested, and that maybe it wasn't just keeping organs warm, maybe these girls were on top of you for other reasons. And I absolutely can't get enough of this show, because I honestly think this is peak comedy. I think comedy is one of the most subjective kind of like genres of any storytelling, because what makes one person laugh isn't guaranteed to make another laugh. But in terms of this one hitting every note of my funny bone, it does so without much struggle. I personally find this to be one of the most hilarious and I think entertaining kind of takes on a comedy show I've seen. Because all we're basically watching is an anime within an anime. These 3 are watching this man's life, and essentially they're watching a binge session of their favorite / I can't believe I'm watching this show. Our girl literally sacrifices dinner to watch one more episode and then immediately regrets it when the episode doesn't live up to what the fried chicken would have offered, and she sacrificed that and in return had to even spot the difference for the ramen tab. I love it, man. It makes me laugh, and rather than it being one of those shows where I can say, oh, it's an entertaining, funny show, sometimes it gets a kick out of me. No, out of every episode that we've seen, there's been at least over half of the episode when it was trying to make a joke land. It landed for me to the point that I was busting out laughing. Maybe not rolling on the floor, maybe not going hysterical with my laughs, but that just doesn't happen for me in terms of comedy. I can find things amusing, but to legitimately laugh out loud, it's something that doesn't happen too much. But I think it's a mixture of that refreshing take on the isekai genre, where you do get to have like the isekai story, but it's more pulled back into a slice of life setting because of the casual watching like a TV. But also the fact of the matter is, there's something about Uncle's ignorance and just the fact that he's just so oblivious to so much. Like, there's so much about his punishments for just being ugly in this world. So yeah, like there's a lot of shit that happens that you feel bad. But then it's like what he'll do afterwards that it's hard to feel the sympathy, because like he'll basically look like a lunatic. He'll free a bunch of adorable looking animals, and I imagine they were going to be like pretty mean. I just wasn't expecting them to lash out on him, and that's fun. You're like, damn, that's an unfortunate circumstance. And then you see some innocent people, in the background, like, oh shit, he saves them. This should be a good moment of like, hey, don't judge a book by its cover. Instead, he's covered in blood, looks like a maniac, grabs a dude and yeets him through portals. So it basically it kind of feels like a mass relay from Mass Effect, where the ship goes next to it so it can launch super fast. except this dude went through like 10 different summoning circles within a matter of a second, and who knows whatever he hit in the background, like he probably splattered in a wall for all we know. The man has no common sense, and because of that, we witnessed some of the funniest situations I have personally experienced in anime, and I love comedy anime. I mean, if you follow the channel long enough, you know, like my absolute favorite subgenre is rom-coms, because I just love the blend of romance meets comedy. But if you give me a pure comedy that just makes me laugh out loud, that shit isn't going to be forgotten, and I'm truly, truly hoping that this one gets a season 2, because this shit is just getting started, and it feels like we are kind of like the characters watching Uncle's life, just being like, one more episode. This man is disappointing me beyond belief because he's missing obvious clues. Not only, like, even if he didn't want the harem, even if he didn't even want to be with someone, there is so many opportunities to just not string these people along, and he would have had such an easier life. But because of that, we get this hilarious anime where shit continues to go wrong, and somehow the worst shit we see is what he considers positive, and I'm like, what is wrong with this dude? Truthfully, I'm surprised we haven't seen this show sooner than we got it, because this one just feels like a recipe for success. There is no way this show doesn't do well enough to warrant a season 2, maybe even a season 3 in my books. It just hits every perfect note. The voice actors are absolutely spot on. Uncle is actually one of my favorite performances of this anime season. There's something about how he lights up. Like, sometimes he looks like a wannabe shoujo character with how his character design changes, and he's kind of like he feels like a poster boy for one of those shows. Other times he feels like a straight menace with his ogre-like vocal performance and shaking fools left and right. But it's the general, like, the way he responds to things. Like, they'll bring up stuff that is so, like, what in the actual hell? And he'll just respond so nonchalantly to these moments. And then to see the reactions, like, I thought we've pretty much seen all we would from how these characters would look when shocked. But there was a couple of new ones in this episode that left me rolling. Hell, even within the Isekai world, when they were on the bed there, just some of the reactions from them was absolutely spot on. From one of them saying that, you know, this is going to be my master, and she's doing the puppy paws, and I'm like, what are we actually watching here? Uncle from Another World just ain't playing around anymore, and it's crazy, man. Like, this is, without a doubt, one of my personal favorite shows of the year. I'm going that far. I'm not even saying of the season, of the year. We're halfway through this season, and honestly, it feels like it's hard for me to imagine me not enjoying at least 50 episodes worth of content of this show, because there is so much to what's happening. You can look at just the whole memory erase scene at the very beginning of the episode. That's a comedy genius where you can have these like little moments that you think are just funny in the moment. They don't want to remember something because it's too painful. And then in the process of watching their favorite I Can't Believe anime, it's like, oh shit, now they're getting bloody nose. They can casually kill themselves just because they don't want to experience the brutality of the holy shit, this is so awkward, I need to erase my memories. This show's awesome. I'm loving the comedic direction, visually on point with his art design and the shifts in perspectives. I love the voice actors. Uncle, one of my favorite voice actors of the season, just with how he delivers this holy shit uncle persona. But I just love the comedy. It clicks with me, it makes me laugh, and it makes me excited to talk about it every time an episode drops. So, thoughts, feelings, funniest moment for you? Easily one of my favorite episodes of Uncle, but it kind of does get better almost every week, so no surprise. But thoughts down below, leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.